How, if we can talk maybe about some tips on how to not ensure, but make something like this less likely to happen. How can someone be in a relationship and before the warning signs are there, or even when warning signs do occur, what can people do with, they want to be, successful in their career, but then they also have to rely on their spouse to, or partner to, you know, be part of that with them.
Right. I think that's a great question. Thank you. So I think that taking ownership of your life is key, and then like making your marriage and your partner a priority. That my marriage was not a priority in my life for very many years. So I think making your marriage a priority is key. When I say my husband had an affair with another woman, like I said, I had an affair with my career, and I was constantly at my office running my company. When I got removed from my company, not that I got removed, but I literally had to go focus on my personal life. My company soared. My company, like literally, I had individuals that took ownership of so many other roles, and my company became so profitable without me overseeing it. So it was like almost like a blessing in disguise. And I was able to see, hey, this place can't operate without me here 24/7. And I think as business owners or leaders or chief of the households, we feel like nothing can happen without us. And we have to have so much control. And I think if you release some of that control and you allow other people to support you and really take the reins and take control of certain situations, it's going to free up more time for you. And if you have more time, you're going to have more time for yourself. You're going to have more time for your spouse and your loved ones and for the people that really matter. And so I think just taking ownership of your time and where you want to spend it, understanding what's a priority, could prevent things like this happening. And I think, secondly, too, having a lot of communication and creating elements of positivity in your life wherever you can.
Communication, just in general, is a huge part, I think, of relationship issues, and talking to people that specialize in this, such as yourself. And it covers so many things. It's not just you need to communicate; it's like how you communicate, and it's the
Right.
unspoken word, and so many of those things that just get let go and not brought up or addressed, that just kind of fester, it seems.
Yeah, I think communication is huge. The way that just my husband and I, we communicate completely different. And I think it's important to think about how your spouse was raised. And this is another thing that I've learned about my husband and I. So I grew up in a home where both my parents were entrepreneurs. Yeah, my mom was a stay-at-home mom, but she took care of the whole entire household and my dad's businesses and things like that. And I grew up on a farm. So we would get up really early, go milk cows before we went to school, then do sports, then come home and do it all over again. And when it was time to go to bed, my parents were like, go to bed. Um, they did a lot for us, but their love for us was a roof over our head and food on the table. My husband's sense of love from his parents, because his parents, his mom was a single mom. Actually, both of his parents were single moms for different reasons. So they always wanted to make sure that they were loving and giving a lot of affection and saying "I love you" and saying how much they mattered, and like the love was completely different. So you put two people together that received love as a child completely different, and then now they have to like know how to love each other. That was a huge aha moment when we were going through therapy as well. And so I learned how to love my husband, and he learned how to love me, which basically helped with communicating what we needed from each other to feel and how to show the other one love.
That makes sense. I was writing down some notes here. You said make marriage a priority. We can really get sucked into our work lives when you take into account if you have a commute and 8 hours of work plus your lunch and then 2 hours to get home, especially if you're in a big city. Plus hopefully 8 hours of sleep, but probably not. So you really have 3 or 4 hours where maybe you're together at the same time in a given day. But I read or was told a statistic that people spend less than 1 hour um, it was either a day, I think per day together in meaningful communication, like not watching TV, not distracted with phones. Is that something similar that you're coming across?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think most families, if you think about it, the chaos coordinators, or the breadwinners, or whatever you want to call them, the head of households, they are overcommitted, overscheduled, overworked, and undervalued and appreciated. And if you think about it, we're all like working so hard to create this life, but we're not actually living the life we're creating. And so we strive to get up early, but we're always catering to everybody else's schedules and not our own schedules. So I think it's really important. My husband and I, we started getting up early together and doing like a morning walk, or making sure we have breakfast together, where we have un uninterrupted time together. And at the beginning of the day, you're waking up. It's like as fresh and as best as you're going to feel. You haven't had someone quit. You haven't had someone walk out on you. You haven't had someone yell at you. Your boss isn't upset. There's all those variables that happen during the day. So at nighttime, that time is filled with more stress, anxiety, and worries, as versus maybe that morning. So I always encourage everyone to like get up early and figure out how to spend that quality time together. And it may only be an hour, but at the end of the day, I think it's more about the quality of time that you're spending with that person versus the quantity. So think about when you have that time with that person, who are you showing up as? What are you bringing to the table? And how are you showing love or compassion to that person? If you only have an hour with them, you want to be your best self for them and for yourself.